Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this final part of coverage from the Texas Bigfoot Conference here in Jefferson, Texas, the Bigfoot Capitol of Texas. We're very happy to welcome Ann Selene. She is the host of Caravan of Lore, as well as founder of KPNL Radio. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure meeting you at dinner last night, having conversation with you aside, and I really wanted to have you on. I love talking to people who it's their first time at a conference.
Yeah, yes.
Because these are experiential events, and they're
really
different than a lot of events that I go and work. Like I work in the world of corporate AV.
Right.
These are different communities, and even going from like the International Remote Viewing Association to this to other things, they're all different communities that kind of cross and commingle in different ways.
Yes.
So it's really interesting. What has your experience been like over the last couple days?
I really like this. I went in 2019 to Arkansas to a paranormal expo. And then I think it was in 2021. There was a Bigfoot festival over in Washington that I went to.
Oh, okay.
And then, of course, there was the Dogman conference that I went to earlier this year, which I absolutely loved. And so this is my very first Bigfoot convention or conference that I've been to. And it's been amazing. I am really excited to be getting to know everybody. There's that cross-pollination going on. And it begins to really feel like family, which is amazing. And so, and I've heard the stories. This place, this is what really feels like everybody is telling more stories and really just connecting on that level, So it's been...
That has been my experience as well, is that I akin these events a lot to Comic-Con.
Oh, I actually went to one of those for the first time this year.
I am a comic book freak. I've been going to comic conventions since they were not hip back in the 90s, since before like costume contests. To see things get to that point now.
Right.
And to know that even events like Texas Bigfoot Conference, it's like the 22nd year that this conference has been going on.
That's impressive.
And to know that it is one of the longest running cryptid conferences right here in my backyard blows my mind. Right. To know that this existed in my backyard for the entire time I've been interested in cryptozoology.
That's lucky.
And, never really knew about it till I met Craig Woolheater.
Wow.
It's incredible. And it's nice to see these communities now, I guess, getting their foot on the corner.
Yes.
And getting some attention, garnering some attention. I think it does a lot for the research.
Yes.
For
the attendees, I just ended up being a speaker for the first time at the OC Paracon 2 weekends ago in California. And it was really incredible being able to stand in front of everybody and even just having a table. They come up to you and they tell you their stories. Yep. These are real experiences that have long-lasting effects. Yep. Sometimes they're traumatic and they really stay with you, and these people are searching for these answers. So when we're here, it also kind of facilitates healing. Because as we tell our stories and they go, oh, wow, this person, they just went up there and they told this story and that's similar to something that I've experienced. And then all of a sudden now they have found their voice and they can tell their story. And it's a blessing.
Well, and it's interesting because even our last guest, Sibylla Irwin, she does sketch work, things like that. And even her saying that her sketch work, the healing that she has seen it bring people, because it brings about a point of closure.
It does.
And even the experiences I've had in my life, it can be strange and it can be hard to reconcile that with your, I guess, paradigm of reality.
Right.
Like capital R reality.
Yes, no, as somebody who has experienced things since my earliest memories, I published a book about it actually in February. Even with, shadow entities and ghosts, hauntings, UFO, ET stuff, when I had my Sasquatch encounter, or I like to call it that just because of the silhouette that I saw and the howls that I heard, as I stood there experiencing this, I was just shocked And it was like my whole reality. It's like monsters are real is what I felt, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to really wrap my head around it, even though I've been in this field.
Explain your circumstances of your encounter real quick for the audience, just so they can grasp that. We had the conversation last night.
Yes. So I was over in Ohio, and we had actually started out doing a ghost investigation. But when we were doing the Estes method, which is where you have the noise-canceling headphones and you're blindfolded and you're plugged into the SB7, and you're hearing those words that are going through and you're saying the words out loud, it kept talking about trees and land and all of that kind of thing. So, of course, I had the idea of, all right, well, let's go out to the woods and do a ghost hunt,
Sure.
Not thinking anything of it. Now, the other thing about it is, in Oregon, the forest is pretty silent. And that's just kind of how it is. And I don't know if it's just, it's so lush and everything, but over here, like in Texas or in Ohio.
Oh, we rowdy.
Oh, it's an orchestra. Oh my gosh, it's incredible. But when we got into this patch of woods, it was silent.
Wow.
And I did not register that. So when they said, hey, how you feeling? Because I am empathic. I was like, oh, I'm fine, thinking, oh, it's great. It felt still and silent. And, of course, my history is in Oregon.
Felt normal for you.
Exactly.
This is how the woods should feel.
Yep, that's right. So I was like, all right, we're good. So we set up everything. And we have a blanket down on the ground. And I'm sitting there. And I hear something off kind of behind me to my right. And it sounds like 2 bipedal footsteps. And I'm thinking, it's probably a bird. It's probably just a bird. Whatever, okay. And I sit there a little longer. And this is when I hear this really low guttural growl. And you could feel it. It made you feel sick. But I look at the other people that I'm with. No reaction. Nothing. So I'm sitting there going, okay, I'm the only one that heard it. I don't want to be the scaredy cat in the group.
Or the weirdo.
Or the weirdo.
I don't want to be the weirdo out in the middle of the woods looking for Bigfoot with a bunch of Bigfoot squatchers.
Right, exactly. I'm just like, I don't,
Wow.
So I stand up and I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this. And I stand up and I turn around because now I'm wanting to watch what's behind me. I don't want anything to, sneak up on me.
Yeah.
And I find this little flashlight, and I'm looking over, and I've got it pointed like this. And sure enough, off in the distance next to a tree, I see the classic silhouette, where it's the head and the shoulders and the arm is around the tree.
Yeah, the peekaboo.
Yeah, and I'm going, no, you're not part of my reality. I'm not subscribing to this. No, I'm not out here for you.
Despite your paranormal experiences in your life.
Exactly. And
wow.
so I
what a denier. Like, seriously.
Yeah, it's true, though. I did not want that.
Well, and it's interesting that you say that, though.
Yeah.
That you did not want that.
Right. Exactly. So at this point, I'm wanting to disengage. I don't want to be seeing what I'm seeing.
Wow.
So I move the flashlight over, but I'm not very far. I'm only about to hear. And that's when we hear this really loud, open-handed smack against the vehicle that we drove in on. And I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. And I'm standing there frozen now. They look at me and they go, hey, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, nope. I want to go out to the field. I can't be in the forest anymore. We got to go. And so they're like, okay, all right, Of course, they had no idea what was going on. Now, when they heard that really loud, open-handed smack against the vehicle, they're in ghost hunting mode. Normally, bangs and footsteps and moans or whatever is normal when you're in a location, a building.
Sure.
So they laughed it off.
Yeah.
Well, we get back into the vehicle. Nothing was around there when we walked to the vehicle, and we drive out. And we get to the field, and they say, well, are you feeling better? And I said, yeah, I'm doing better. And that's when my friend that I was with takes her phone and holds it up like this. And it's the 1994 Ohio howl recording. And she's just blurting it out to the forest. And sure enough, the exact same sound, the cadence, the length of the howl, the everything comes right back at us out of the woods. And I'm standing there, and that's the moment that I'm like, monsters do exist. That's the moment my reality was just kind of broken. And I'm just like, and then it wasn't much long after that you could hear this tree being ripped up out of the ground and smacked against another tree.
Did y'all find the tree?
No, man.
Okay.
Like we got in the vehicle.
Okay, we're out.
Yes. We got in the vehicle and we were driving off, and of course it's just like this little gator, so we all pop in. It's like a clown car. Just real slow. And and I can just visualize that it could, you hear about them bluff charging you or following you, or there's multiple, and there's strength. Sure. And I'm just visualizing this and thinking that it can come up and go like this to the vehicle and flip us over and we're snacks, And but we made it back to base camp, and I'm just like, well, I'm done. I'm a knower now. I don't need to be a believer. I feel like I'm a knower.
Yeah.
Until the second half of the experience happened. Now, what we decided to do after that, what I was thinking is, okay, can we communicate it through with the Estes method? Okay. And it was after a while, after I calmed down and everything, we go out, boom, Estes method again. We got the earphones, we got the blindfold, and we asked, at first you could hear something. There was movement. And up on the ridge, and I wasn't the only person that saw this, you could see the silhouette peeking out from a tree that was up there, but it swayed back and forth. And then one of the other people that we were with, we turned a flashlight on because we were just, how far can the flashlight go? What can we see? Well, that's when the person on the Estes method, now they didn't know the flashlight was on, they didn't hear it turn on, they didn't see it turn on. She says, bright, too bright. And so, boom, we turn the flashlight off. The next thing she says is, see, you see me. And we're just like perplexed,
Wow.
And then from there, the conversation began as talking about how there's something missing, something lost. And they said, we were once worshipped, but now a myth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
So, then that kind of makes me go, okay, could there be two camps? Like the two camps, could they both exist? There's the people that believe that it's zoological and just flesh and blood. Then there's the people that believe it's paranormal. And then I thought, okay, well, what if it's a shapeshifter that can play off of our minds?
That is quite literally exactly the conversation that we had with Jason McLean earlier, the one that we've had with him on previous episodes. We're both in the camp of there is a physical creature.
Right.
Unknown to science, absolutely. But is it the fact that maybe these other entities are using what we are comfortable with?
Right.
Our known modalities of, well, if they saw me, they might freak out, but if they saw this,
Yes. No, it's true. It's true. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been interesting to see over the last few years the number of UFO UAP cases that are tied in with paranormal, the number of Bigfoot and cryptid sightings that are tied in with paranormal. Used to be these were all just under the banner of paranormal.
Right, right.
And now it's interesting to see the factions, and to literally see the infighting between factions in these communities. The hardcore physical squatchers that are like, you're crazy with the portals, and the opposite way around.
I think that it comes down to fear.
Okay.
Because if my reality is that something could be physical, and I'm okay with something being physical, but I'm sitting there going, I don't know about all this paranormal stuff and da-da-da-da-da. And then if we were to find out that it was paranormal, that's going to kind of break your reality a little bit.
Sure.
And people don't want to go outside of that box.
Yeah.
So I think that some of it, at least, can come from that fear of not wanting that reality, that safety to be broken.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, well, I mean, we're fragile animals ourselves, psychologically. And when things happen that cause you to question the world in which you live, cause you to question the way in which you have lived your life.
Yes.
At some points, even with these experiences, it can be a life-stealing moment.
Oh yeah.
For certain, and the fact of it can not only steal part of your life, but it will change the way you view and act to the world around you.
Exactly.
And how have you found your experiences to change the way you look at the world around you?
Well,
this one specifically. I mean, like you said, you are now a knower. You don't need belief. You don't need question.
Right. No, I had my experience. I know what I experienced and what I kind of saw, and with my book, the title is Aperture in the Veil, Born in a Preternatural World.
Okay.
And so I chose the word preternatural specifically because I feel that this stuff is actually very natural to our world. I don't think, when we use terms like paranormal or supernatural, I think that creates a separatism.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so I'm wanting to really bring this in to be like, okay, everybody, there's so much that the human eyes can't see and so much that the human ears can't hear, but that doesn't mean that stuff isn't real or doesn't exist.
Absolutely. Otherwise, every piece of film a doctor has ever taken from me is imaginary because I can't see x-rays.
Yes, exactly.
My remote control is just a wizard in a box because I can't see infrared.
Exactly.
Just the other day, my wife was telling me about somebody in the moms group while they were out talking about this crazy friend who believes in crystals and all that. Oh. And I just started cracking up.
Yep.
Because, I believe in crystals. I am surrounded by them. I have one in my pocket. And I was like, oh, that's hilariously sad and short-minded. And she's like, well, Chris, not everybody has that spiritual connection that you do. I was like, I understand that, but I'm sure she had a cell phone in her hand, right? With a liquid crystal display and vibrating quartz and silicon that make the chips.
Exactly.
All of those crystals and the power of the lithium crystals that are powering the phone. So I guess all that crystal vibration stuff is just willy-nilly, not actual science. Never mind the piezo microphone that's literally a sliver of crystal between two pieces of metal, picking up your voice, and the opposite direction giving you a speaker.
Yes, exactly.
Like all powered by crystals. So pop that one in her head next time she says something.
Right.
And she did. And she was like, they all just started looking at their phones like, oh my God.
Yeah. I love it.
It's like, here's 5 ways that literally crystals are powering your life right now.
Oh, yeah.
So forget about the willy-nilly vibration of crystals. That's a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I agree with that. And there's other things, too, like I feel that our intuition, psychic abilities, I believe that we all have it.
Yep.
It's a matter of working them out like a muscle.
Oh, sure. No, exactly. I mean, I have friends that are naturally athletic, much more athletic than I am. We both started athletics at the same time, and they just excelled more than me. They could run better. They had better coordination, things like that. I knew how to run.
Right.
I just didn't run as well as them.
Right. Yeah. No, it's true.
So,
I mean,
these things are nascent inside of us. They're there. Yeah. There's a reason why you walk into a party and you feel like somebody's tugging a string behind your belly button. Like, you need to go.
Yes.
You need to, follow that instinct. Go. Feel free to follow it. Try following it more and being in tune to that.
Oh,
now, as someone who's worked in the paranormal, things like that, before we let you go, what do you find the common person can do to, I guess, attune themselves more to that world? And that's not to say, like, inviting things.
Right.
I'm not saying go out and buy a spirit board, folks.
No, of course. Of course not. Right.
But, what can they do to...
I think the number one thing is to be open-minded. You have to accept the possibility that you are capable of doing this. really open yourself up to that, that thought. And then from there, maybe write a journal that kind of keeps track of, I kind of had this inkling here, and then it turned out to be true, or write down synchronicities, because the more aware you become, the more I think that it will build and grow.
I'm big on encouraging people to dream journal.
Oh, yes.
I do not nearly dream the way I used to. I used to be very active with my dreaming, going to sleep with intent for finding answers, things like that.
Right.
But even then, I recommend people that are trying to go down this path, start dream journaling. Start paying really close attention to your dreams, because that is quite literally where your subconscious mind gets to unwrap and unravel everything that it autonomically went through.
Oh, yes.
Throughout the day that you literally just did not have the bandwidth to deal with at that moment.
That's right.
You tucked it away. I'm going to store this away. I can't deal with that jive right now. I got to go do this.
Yep, exactly.
But when you're asleep, you got nothing but time to jive.
That's true. That's true.
And it really does give you an insight into a lot of things.
Yes.
Here recently, I had the great opportunity to go be a sponsor at the International Remote Viewing Association.
That's amazing.
And not only there, but the International Association for Near-Death Studies.
Wow.
And it was interesting to me to see so many crossovers of researchers. Names like Hal Puthoff were mentioned. People like Robert Bigelow producing work in both areas and financing work in both areas. And it's interesting to me how everybody involved with the science, and I say science of remote viewing because, it's there. They got the numbers. They can show you this is no random chance.
Right.
Remote viewing. It is a thing.
Yes.
But everybody involved with the founding of that, all of them particle physicists. All physicists. Every single one of them.
Wow.
And I'd followed the work of remote viewing and the Stanford Institute, SRI, things like that for years and years. But until I went there and met them and started talking to them and interviewing them and hearing them talk, it just, I never saw the letters behind the name. And it was one of those wow, every single one of you is a theoretical physicist, something.
Oh, wow.
So this ain't fake.
Oh, no. See,
when you got theoretical physicists working on this, and not just working on it, but working on it over 20 years.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, remote viewing is something, I don't talk about it a whole lot, but it's something that I've definitely been interested in. I have had success. And then I did remote view Montauk once. And actually that photograph that I showed you at dinner last night, that happened shortly after my attempt to remote view into Montauk.
Oh, wow. I would love to have you on to talk about that. I've yet to do a Montauk episode, but I've been wanting to do one. So I'd love to have you on about that. I've been curious because I say it on the show all the time. To deny vibration, once again, silly and stupid. By all known physics right now, we are physically not here. This table is not here.
Right.
Me touching it is just a repulsion of electron.
Right.
Nothing more. I am sharing an electron show with a dude in Peru and another guy in Dallas right now.
Yep.
That's what we physically know of the universe and of the construction of matter.
Right.
So to know that 90% of both of us is empty space.
Yes.
But we can still high five.
I know.
That's pretty remarkable, man. And really should set forth a panoply of movement in people's brains when they think about it.
That's true.
Just the fact, because once again, I know X-ray's real. Can't see it.
That's true.
I've seen the results of it.
Yes.
But I can't see the X-rays. So we need to, I think, lose this concept of seeing is believing.
Yes. I agree with that.
And move forward. Be a little bit more, I guess, proactive in how we react and act to the world around us.
Yes, I agree full-heartedly.
I want to
Perfectly
thank
put.
you for the time. I know you have been over helping King Gerhardt manage his booth, things like that. Before we let you go, let the audience know, of course, where they can go to check out Caravan of Lore, where they can go to follow KPNL Radio, where they can go to get your book. It is time for shameless self-promotion.
Let's see. Gosh, so the Caravan Library of Lore is everywhere. You can find it on Instagram, Facebook, in Google. It'll be the first thing that comes up. Just type in Caravan of Lore and you're good. KPNL Radio is the same thing. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. That one's kpnl-db.com.
Okay.
And then my book is on Amazon. It's Aperture in the Veil, Born in a Preternatural World.
Awesome. Well, I will be buying my copy of that before I leave today. I would love to have you on a full episode.
I would love that.
To talk about the writing of the book, what it's been like since writing it, and what your next moves are about writing. So
I would love that.
Thank you so much for your time today, and I greatly appreciate it. While you are online checking out all of the amazing work of Ann Selene, make sure to stop on by Curious Realm. CuriousRealm.com is the website. That is where you can find all of our episodes. That's where you can find all of our content. It's where you can find the Knowledge Vault full of declassified government materials. It's also where you can find our experiencer page, CuriousRealm.com/story. If you are an experiencer of the paranormal, cryptids, if you are a targeted individual, stop on by, tell us your story. We will pose your story to our experts and researchers when we have them on the show about the topic. So stop on by, check that out. You can leave anonymous invites, all that kind of good stuff. So once again, everybody, thank you so much for your time today and always. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. That is it for our coverage of the Texas Bigfoot Conference here in the Texas Bigfoot Capitol of Jefferson. So until next time, everybody, stay curious. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of The Curious Realm. Stay tuned for more guests, forbidden topics, and hidden truths. Download the official Curious Realm app and view the Knowledge Vault on our website, CuriousRealm.com. Follow us on social media by searching Curious Realm. Curious Realm is available on your favorite podcast services, as well as YouTube, Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV through the APR TV app, available on all app markets. Curious Realm is a proud member of the HC Universal Network family of podcasts. For more great content or to become a sponsor of Curious Realm or other podcasts, visit hcuniversalnetwork.com today. Thanks for listening. Stay curious. And remember, the other side is always watching.